Picture this. You're alone at your desk, focused intently on a project that you have to finish. There's 1 hour until the deadline. You're ready to knock it out.
Then the phone rings. You glance at it, but ignore it.
Because nothing's going to stop you from getting this finished. Interruption dodged.
But then a coworker walks up to your desk asking, "Hey, why didn't you answer my call?"
You remain firm, head down, still working, but allow for a quick reply. Project, deadline, no time. A second interruption averted.
But the coworker persists. "I hate to tell you, but Jessica wants all of us in the conference room as soon as possible. The ACE project client is visiting today, and she needs to go over the details with us."
All that resistance meant nothing. With shoulders sagging, you slowly walk into the meeting room in frustration.
Or maybe you stomp in, because now the other project will be late.
The point is, interruptions are frustrating. Sometimes they can be avoided, but other times, like in the scenario we just described, there's nothing you can do about it.
The number of interruptions you face on any given day can vary, but let's consider some statistics for how often during the day workers are interrupted.
A 2022 study by Next Work Innovation found that workers experience interruptions an average of 15 times per hour.
That would work out to once about every 4 minutes, which sounds like a lot of interruptions.
It is! And each interruption added anywhere from 15 to 24% more time to the interrupted task because of time needed to reorient to the original task.
Once you return to what you were working on, it could take some time to regain your full focus because you've lost your momentum.
Reported estimates of the financial impact these interruptions have are in the tens of billions of dollars annually.
This Brain Bites course discusses strategies to manage and reduce interruptions and tips to avoid procrastination. We begin by looking at types and sources of interruptions.
First, interruptions can be internal or external, and they're not all necessarily bad. For example, an instant message that provides information for the task you're working on is good. The interruption helps you.
And although we began this lesson with an example of an interruption causing frustration, it was an interruption linked directly to work.
That example was an external interruption, but did you know that 44% of interruptions are internal? They start with you.
These internal or self-interruptions can be work-related, such as stopping to assess progress or collaborate on something with a colleague. Or they may not be related to work.
Some of you can probably relate. You get started on work and then think of something else. I wonder if Joe has gotten to work yet. I can't wait to talk to him about the end of the game last night.
Now, the game could possibly be related to work. If you worked at a sports-related enterprise.
Right, but if not, that kind of self-interruption should be called what it is, a distraction.
But some interruptions improve productivity. When this happens, we can call them interactions.
An interaction occurs when you switch to another task related to your current work sphere, or when someone comes to you with information related to your work sphere.
Your work sphere includes all tasks or activities related to the common goals, resources, and communication you share with a certain group of people at work.
Therefore, the hypothetical meeting in our first example was an interaction.
It interrupted work on a specific project, but it fell into a work sphere related to a particular client, so it could be considered a good interruption.
But if that wasn't what you planned to work on at the time, it is still an interruption.
Yes, interactions are a type of interruption, which are directly related to your work. In this information age, people often work in multiple working spheres every day, so they are frequently switching from one sphere to another.
Because of that, there is strong potential for interruptions. The question is, are you supposed to just roll with it, accept all interruptions?
Not all. First, some interruptions are clearly distractions.
Remember, these occur when something or someone distracts you with something unrelated to your work spheres.
Like when somebody texts me about non-work stuff or stops by to tell me about their weekend plans.
Exactly. That type of interruption is clearly not related to your work. It's a distraction.
And some days, there are a lot of distractions.
But what if the interruption is really an interaction? Do you always just absorb it into your workday?
No. Although some interactions will need to be dealt with when they happen, like getting pulled to a last-minute meeting, others could warrant a different approach.
There are two principles to keep in mind regarding the topic of interruptions.
The first is... Oh. 1 minute. Thanks. Sorry about that. I wanted to point out that... So I wanted to...
Hey, why don't you silence that for a moment?
What? I might miss something.
You've gotten 3 notifications in a minute. Were they all important?
In this hypothetical scenario, no. But one was a text from someone who would keep texting me until I answered.
Do you get many interruptions like that from notifications? Or are your interruptions from phone calls or people dropping by?
Or do you interrupt yourself? Regardless of the interruption source, remember these 2 principles. First, accept that interruptions will happen.
Some may be good, some may be bad, but interruptions are inevitable to some extent.
Second, be proactive and plan for interruptions.
In the remainder of this course, we'll explore methods to plan for and deal with different types of interruptions.
We'll also consider how you can avoid interrupting others unnecessarily and provide tips to avoid procrastination.
So interruptions don't throw you even more off schedule.